Okay, so good morning, students. We'll proceed with where we had left off in the last class. So just a quick recap of what we have been doing. So we've started the module 1 with random variables, and we have seen the PDF and the CDF of the random variable, how they are related, and what is the advantage of finding the CDF and the PDF. Then we have moved to expectations of the random variable, where we have found the mean, the second order moment, and the variance. The mean is the 0th order moment, then you have the second order moment, and the uh, the mean is the first order moment, then you have the second order moment, and then you have the variance, which is related to the mean and the second order moment. And then we have seen how we can find the mean, how we can find the second order moment, and then how we can find the variance. There is another easier equation for the variance which we have derived, where the variance of x is e of x square minus mu x the whole square. So this equation has been very helpful for us in solving the numericals. So we've solved multiple numericals based on that. Uh, in the last lecture, we discussed about the characteristic function. This is another way to find the expectations, the mean, variance, and the standard deviation for any random variable. And we've seen what is the equation for the characteristic function. So equation 1 will help us in finding the characteristic function, which is phi x j omega, which is expectation of e raised to j omega x, where omega is the angular frequency, and this is all happening in the frequency domain. Okay. Then we have seen how we can find the expectation of e raised to j omega x. So this e raised to j omega x is just the expectation operator which we use, which I have written at the bottom here. So e raised to x is negative to positive infinity x fx of x. But for us in characteristic equation, the x is e raised to j omega x. Therefore, you have e raised to j omega x fx of x dx. Right. So we found what is the moment about the origin, and we saw that we can use the differential and then substitute omega equal to 0 in that and get a value. When n is 1, you get the mean value. When n is 2, you get the second order moment, and then you can use that variance equation to find the standard deviation, that is e of x square minus e of x the whole square. So this will be useful for us in solving the numericals. So I think we solved one numerical, which is shown on the screen. So where fx of x was 1 between for x between 0 and 1. And then we found the characteristic equation there, right? You must note that we have still not done the differential here and substituted for omega equal to 0, 1, 2. We'll take the same equation and do that, and we'll see what mean and variance we'll get. So we are yet to do that. Okay. Then we solved another numerical with PDF as 1 by b minus a. And then we have found the characteristic equation for that. Again, we have not differentiated it to substitute omega equal to 0, 1, 2, and henceforth, and to see what values we get. So we'll keep this equation and do this later. Okay. Then I had given you one numerical to find the characteristic equation of this PDF. So I hope you've solved it. So let me solve this, and for those who have solved it, you can check the answer. So I'm really hoping that whatever problems I give for you to go and practice, you're actually doing it. Okay, it's just not important from exam point of view, but also from a learning point of view, because these are subjects, which will really help us in understanding the higher versions of communication engineering. Okay, so signals and systems, statistics, these are very helpful in understanding digital communication, wireless communication, optical communication, henceforth, which you are going to be studying. Okay, so please solve these numericals. So let's see how we can solve this equation. The PDF is given to us, which is lambda e raised to minus lambda x for x greater than equal to 0. So let's see how we can solve this. So let me write the equation for the characteristic function, which is phi x of j omega, which is e of e raised to j omega x. And let us rewrite this equation. So it will be negative infinity to positive infinity. X fx of x dx, x is e raised to j omega x into fx of x dx. Right. So now I'm going to substitute the PDF value in that equation. and you can see that the PDF value exists, that is the lambda e raised to minus lambda x exists only for x greater than or equal to 0, right? That means from negative infinity till -1 this PDF does not exist. Therefore I'll change the limit of the integral starting from 0 till infinity, and you'll have e raised to j omega x, and for this limit fx of x is lambda e raised to minus lambda x, and this will be dx, right? Now this just turns out to be a simple integral. So now you have let's just combine all the exponents and take care of the constants, right? So lambda is a constant, so I'll get that out. You have 0 to infinity, so you have e raised to a into e raised to b, so the powers are going to add. So in this case you'll have e raised to, and x is common in those exponentials, so I'll keep the x out. So you have e raised to j omega minus lambda into x dx. So this integral is of the form e raised to ax dx, right? So a will be the constant, where a is your j omega minus lambda. Okay? So here you have lambda. So e raised to ax will be e raised to ax divided by a with the limit. So you'll have e raised to j omega minus lambda into x divided by a, which is j omega minus lambda, and the limits here will be from 0 to infinity. 0 to infinity, right? Therefore this value will be lambda, and I'll get the j omega minus lambda out because that's a constant. So you'll have e raised to j omega minus lambda into x, where x will be infinity first, and then you'll have 0 at the second value. So I'll have 0 to infinity, right? Now let's do this on the side. E raised to j omega minus lambda into x. I can also write this as e raised to j omega x into e raised to minus lambda x. I hope you are able to understand this, right? And then you have the first limit, which is infinity. So you'll have e raised to j omega into infinity multiplied with e raised to minus lambda into infinity, right? That value is just 0, and e raised to j omega infinity is also 0. Therefore, for the limit of infinity, this answer will just be 0. Right? So this is just on the side here. So when I plug in the first limit, which is infinity, the answer will be 0. Right? Therefore, this equation here becomes lambda by j omega minus lambda, by j omega minus lambda. When I put infinity, as we have done on the left hand side, the answer is 0. And then you have e raised to j omega minus lambda into 0 as the second limit. E raised to 0 is 1, therefore you'll have a minus 1. Therefore, if you scroll back on the left hand side, we were calculating the characteristic function. Therefore, for this given PDF, the characteristic equation phi x of j omega is negative lambda by j omega minus lambda. Or if you want to write it in a positive format, it will be lambda by lambda minus j. So this is the characteristic function for this given PDF. Right? So you can see that after you plug in the characteristic equation, the given equation, it just turns out to be simple integration, and you just need to know what the integral is, right? So we need to be strong with the integration part. Okay. There is another numerical which I had given you for practice. We had not solved it, so let me quickly solve that, and then we'll move to the second part. So that numerical, let me really show you here the numerical which I had given. Okay, so this is the numerical N2 which you see. So here we are given a value of mu x, and we are given the value of e of x square, and we need to find sigma x and another random variable e of w, given that w is x square by 3. Okay, so again I'm hoping that you've solved this numerical. We were not able to discuss it last time. Okay. So let us try and find what the answer would be. Okay, anybody got the answer for this? I'd given this last to last time.
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay. So let us try and solve this numerical. I hope you have the numerical with you. Okay, so I'm just going to write uh, the important points of the numerical. Okay, so let me just solve this here. This is N2, so I'll just take this space and solve that numerical. Okay. So I'll rewrite the important points. I'm not repeating the question. I hope you have it with you. So we are given uh, mu x, which is my screen visible?
No, sir.
Okay, hold on. Let me get it on. I think now it's visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us quickly write the parameters. So mu x is given, which is 13.5. Hold on one second. There's something wrong with my OneNote. I'll get it back. I hope the screen is back on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me write the parameters. Mu x is 13.5. Just one second, okay? I think there's something wrong. It's corrupted. Just give me 1 minute. It's back on. I hope this time it won't get corrupted. So let me just write something and see if it works. Okay. Okay. So in the numerical, we are given mu x, which is 13.5, and we are given E of x square, which is 1578.6. We need to find the standard deviation, and then the second part, the mean of the new random variable w, given that w is x square by 3. Just a quick check, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So let us do the first part. So we need to find sigma x, which is the square root of sigma x square. So we need to find the variance. So for this, I'm going to use the equation that sigma x square is E of x square minus mu x the whole square. So you have E of x square, which is 1578.6 minus mu x the whole square, which is 13.5 the whole square. Right. So I've already solved this numerical. I get 1396.35, and so therefore the standard deviation sigma x, the square root of 1396.35, and this I get around 36.36. I hope you have the same answer, right?
So 37.3.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. 37, because you make an approximation on the decimal side. You may have taken 2 slots, I may have taken 4 slots, so that's okay. But around 36, 37. That's what you'll get. Okay. The next part is we are given w, which is x square by 3, right? And we need to find mu w, right? That is what we need to find. So mu w is E of w, and which is I'm going to substitute for w, which is E of x square by 3. 3 is a constant, therefore I'll get that outside the expectation, and you have E of x square, and E of x square is already given to us, therefore mu w is 1578.6 divided by 3. Very simple. So this we get around 526.2. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so it was a very simple problem. I hope you have solved it. Okay. Okay. So now let's move to another very important topic in this module. It's a very important topic because it will help us in further in the when we talk about multiple random variables and then random processes, right? So here we want to talk about standard random variables. Standard random variables, which implies standard PDFs. So there are certain PDFs which are standard in the sense that their PDF and CDF is defined, their expectation and variance is known, and these are used for various applications. So just to give you an idea, I'll just quickly write here. We are of course going to talk about this PDF. So we have what is known as a Gaussian PDF. Okay, a Gaussian PDF which looks like this. It has a bell shape. Okay, so it has its mean value, and then it has what are known as the outliers. So you can relate this graph which I have just drawn to your to the students' marks in a class. So the mean value is let's say 70. Okay, so this mean value here is 70, but there are outliers. For example, then there are students who have more than 70 marks, and then there are students who have less than 70 marks. So they are all the outliers here on the shaded part, but the mean of the entire class is 70. Right? So this standard Gaussian PDF is used basically to measure population. So for a very populated country like ours, you cannot say that we are 1 crore 30 lakh people like this. You can't say like that. It's just an approximation, right? And every day the population also increases or decreases, we don't know, right? So we can only approximate the population, and for that the Gaussian PDF is used. Okay. So there are various such applications in these different PDFs which we have. So it is always good to know these standard PDFs. You also use these PDFs in stock markets, where you can predict, right? That prediction in mathematics, I'm sure you have heard the word. That prediction term in mathematics is known as hypothesis. Hypothesis means a very calculated guess. It's not just a guess, a very calculated guess. So I say today that there's a cricket match between India and some country. So I'm guessing that India would make 300 runs today. Okay, that's just a guess that we are doing. But there are statistics which we have, right, which will tell us calculated that okay, today India would make these many runs, right? So these kind of hypothesis, calculated guesses, will really help us in understanding a lot of things. So there are many applications. Of course, those applications are outside the scope of our this particular course, but I just want to tell you why we are actually studying these random variables, right? Standard random variables. Okay, so you will see that we have already done these random variables in the characteristic function, but I've not told you about those random variables. But now is the time to really know which are all these random variables. Okay, so we'll start one by one. There are about 5 or 6 such random variables specified in your syllabus, but I'll be doing the most important ones. Of course, I'll be touching upon the other ones also. And in your assignment, I've asked you to redo the most important ones, the ones which are very likely to be asked in exam, and the ones which are likely used as well. Okay. So the first one, the most popular one, in fact, is a uniform distribution. Uniform distribution function. So it looks like this, the PDF. So on the y-axis you have the PDF fx of x. On the x-axis you have the value of the random variable. So this uniform random variable exists between two values x1 and x2. So I'll shade this uniform random variable. Okay, and this entire area, once you integrate the entire area of this PDF, this area is obviously going to be 1. The value here, which we have already found out, will be 1 by x2 minus x1. Right? So you remember that one of the problems in the characteristic function which we did, the PDF was 1 by b minus a. So if I take you back there, we had done one of the numericals. So let me scroll up and show you. So this was one of the numericals which we had done. So fx of x here was given to us as 1 by b minus a for x between a and b, right? So we are doing x1 and x2 right now. So x1 is a and x2 is b. That's all, right? So in effect, we have already done this PDF. So the PDF for this uniform random variable is defined as 1 by x2 minus x1 for x between x2 and x1, right? And it is 0 for all other values. So obviously from this given PDF, we can find the CDF fx of x, which will be an integral from minus infinity to some value x, fx of x dx. Right? So just to calculate this very quickly, you'll have minus infinity to some value x, 1 by x2 minus x1 of dx. So you can see that in the PDF that the starting value that we have, the starting value where we are conducting the experiment is not minus infinity, it is rather x1. Therefore, I'm going to modify that integral with the limit. So you'll have from x1 to some x, 1 by x2 minus x1 of dx. 1 by x2 minus x1 is a constant, because x2 is a particular value and x1 is a particular value. So I'll get that out, and you have x1 to x dx, which is left in the integral. Therefore, the integration value that we get is 1 by x2 minus x1, and that integral is just x with limits of x1 to x. Therefore, we'll get the CDF as x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1. Right? Please understand x2 and x1 are constant values, so they are not part of the integral. Okay. So therefore, finally, the CDF for this uniform random variable is defined as, so there are three values which will get. There is no CDF which exists for x less than x1, because in the PDF, if you have written, the PDF starts only at x1, right? Then you have a value x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1, which we have just derived, and this value exists for x1 less than x less than x2, right? This is the limit where your PDF also exists, right? That is what is given to us, right? And then you have a third value. Can anyone tell me what will be the third value? Can anybody tell me what will be the third value? We are finding the CDF. What will be the final value?
1.
1. You're right. I think my screen disappeared. Hold on. So yeah, you're right. The final value that we'll get is 1, and this will exist for for x greater than x2. X greater than x2. So if you want to draw this PDF, CDF fx of x, and this will be x. So you'll have nothing from 0 to x1 because it is 0. So I'm just going to shade that a little more. That value is 0. Then you have x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1, which is a straight line. So you'll get a value. You'll get a value like that. And this value goes till x2. So this ramp like value, the slant value, is x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? And then this value exists till x2, and after x2 the value is just 1. So that's how the CDF of the uniform random variable looks like, right? So this is how we define the PDF of the uniform random variable, and that is how we define the CDF of the uniform random variable, right? Now you can also find the mean and the variance value of the uniform random variable, right? So how do you find the mean and the variance value for the uniform random variable? To find the mean, mu x, we need to write the equation, which is minus to plus infinity x fx of x dx, right? Therefore this will be, I'll leave the limits now. You'll have x fx of x dx. That means if I scroll up, fx of x is given to us as 1 by x2 minus x1, right? So x into 1 by x2 minus x1 dx, and the limit, if I scroll up, you can see that the limit is between, for x between x2 and x1, right? So the lower limit will turn to x1, and the higher limit will turn to x2, right? Therefore mu x, 1 by x2 minus x1 is a constant because they are constant values. Integral x1 to x2 x dx. Therefore you'll have 1 by x2 minus x1. This will be x square by 2 from x1 to x2. Therefore mu x will be 1 by, I'll get the 2 here, and you have x2 minus x1, and you'll have x square, so you'll have x2 square minus x1 square, right? Therefore, I can write this as x2 plus x1 into x2 minus x1, and this will divide by 2 into x2 minus x1, right? So I can cross the x2 minus x1 in the numerator and the 1 in the denominator. Therefore, mu x will be x2 plus x1 by, right? So the numerical which we had solved previously, if I take you there, where the value of the, let me go quickly here. Yeah, so here the value which we were given was b and a, right? So if we quickly recollect, b will be x2 and a will be x1, right? So the answer that we get for the mean for the uniform random variable which we have just found is x2 plus x1 by 2. Therefore, if the value is given in terms of b and a, mu x will be x2 plus x1, which will be b plus a divided by 2. B plus a divided by 2, right? Now, if we see, if we differentiate e of x, right? If we differentiate this characteristic function once and substitute omega equal to 0, we should get the mean value, right? So what was the mean value? What was the characteristic function we got for this 1 by b minus a? We got this, right? This is the characteristic function that we got. So now if we do d by d omega, that is the first differential of this phi x of j omega, and then if we substitute omega equal to 0 in this, the answer that we should get is b plus a by 2, because that is the mean value. So you can find the mean value either doing integral x fx of x dx, or you can also find the mean value through the characteristic function by differentiating it once and substituting omega equal to 0, right? So we'll be doing this characteristic function, finding mean through characteristic function a little later, because it involves differentiation. I don't want to confuse you right now, right? So we'll go back to the standard random variable. So we have found the mu x, right? Likewise, you can also find sigma x square. For sigma x square, you need e of x square minus mu x the whole square. So you already have mu x. So this will, I'll just write it as mu x the whole square, right? So for this, first you need to find e of x square. So e of x square is negative to positive infinity x square fx of x dx, right? So you'll get fx of x dx, which is 1 by x2 minus x1, which will be a constant. You get that out, and then you have x square. So this will be x cubed by 3, and then you substitute the value and you will get your answer. So that part I will leave to you, and we'll check the answer in the next class. So in the next class, what I would expect from you is, let me know what is the value of this e of x square, right? And once you have this value, let me know what is the sigma x square for this uniform random variable. So these are the two things I would want you to do. Okay. You'll also find this answer in the book, so you can check the answer. I'm not interested in that final answer. I'm interested in the process which you follow, right? So I've told you how you can find this. So first find e of x square, right? So fx of x is 1 by x2 minus x1, right? And integral will go from x1 to x2, and you'll have x square dx, right? So you'll get x cubed by 3, and then do the mathematics and get your answer, right? So first let me know next time what is e of x square you get, and then from here, once you have e of x square, what is the sigma x square you get, right? So this is the one that is known as the uniform random variable. Okay. Second, so we have not completed the uniform random variable. You are still to tell me what is the second order moment and what is the variance value for this uniform random variable. Okay. Don't worry, I'll also solve it with you, but I want you to try it. Okay. It's basic integration that you need to apply. Okay. The next random variable is known as the exponential random variable or exponential distribution. This is also a random variable which we have already done. So I'll show you where we have done this. And this is defined as fx of x is lambda e raised to minus lambda x for between x between 0 and infinity and 0 otherwise. Right? So this x between 0 and infinity can also be written as x greater than or equal to 0. Right? And if I take you back to characteristic function, the first numerical which we solved today is exactly the same. Right? So we have found the characteristic function of the exponential random variables. Right? But I have not told you what is this lambda there at that time. This lambda is known as rate constant. Rate constant. This kind of a random variable is very much used for stock markets. It tells at what rate the stocks are increasing or decreasing. Okay. So let us first find the CDF of this random variable. We can also find the mean and the variance like we did for the uniform random variable. Okay. So to find the CDF, fx of x is minus 2 plus infinity fx of x. So fx of x will be from 0 to infinity. I've taken 0 because the lower limit here is 0. There's nothing from between minus infinity to 0. And then I'll plug in the fx of x value, which is lambda e raised to minus lambda x, and you'll have dx. Therefore, I'll get the lambda outside the integral. It's a constant. So you have 0 to infinity e raised to minus lambda x dx. So e raised to minus lambda x is an integral of the form e raised to minus ax. Therefore, you have lambda e raised to minus lambda x divided by minus lambda. And the limit here is from 0 to infinity. The lambda and the lambda on the numerator and denominator will cancel each other. So you'll have a negative e raised to minus lambda x from 0 to infinity. Am I doing it right? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. I'm finding the CDF. Huh? Am I right? See, you have to remember CDF is not a constant value. Okay. See, if we scroll up, please remember this is a very common mistake students make. Okay. CDF is not a constant value. See here, this is the CDF. It cannot be a constant value. It needs to have, see, x1 is a constant, x2, x1 is a constant, but this x is not a constant. CDF should help us in putting the values so that I can get, when I put x as 0, what CDF I will get. So when I put x as 0, if you look at the graph, when I put x as 0, I'll get no value. When I put x1, no value. When I put more than x1, I should get this increasing value. When I put x2, I should get 1. So CDF is not a constant value, right? So the mistake which I have done is the integral is starting at 0 because of the PDF which is given to me. So I'm starting at 0, the arrow which I have made here, right? I'm starting at 0, I'm ending at infinity, but the CDF is found for particular point. Therefore, the mistake which I have made is it cannot be from 0 to infinity. It is from 0 to some point x. If I put 0 and infinity, I will get a constant value, but that is not the CDF, right? So that is a mistake which I made, and that's a very common mistake that students make. Okay, so they'll get a constant value and they'll just write it as a CDF, but that's not allowed. Okay, so you are integrating from 0, that is the first value, all the way till some other value x. If this x is infinity, you will definitely get 1, right? But we don't want that value. We want this CDF to be a particular point here. Okay. So now I'll put the value. So you'll have negative. The first value is x, so e raised to minus lambda x. The second value is 0, so e raised to 0, that will give us 1 here, right? Therefore, the CDF fx of x of this exponential random variable, I'll get the negative sign inside the bracket. So you'll have 1 minus e raised to minus lambda x, right? Therefore, mathematically now I can write fx of x, that is the CDF for an exponential random variable, as 0 for x less than 0 and 1 minus e raised to minus lambda x for x greater than or equal to 0, or I can also write this as x between 0 and infinity, right? So how will this CDF look like? It will be an increasing function. So let me draw that. You have fx of x on the y-axis, you have x on the x-axis. So if you see, at 0 we don't have any value because the CDF is starting at 0, and you have 1 minus e raised to minus lambda x. So e raised to minus lambda x is a decreasing exponential, right? So e raised to minus lambda x would look like that, but you have 1 minus e raised to minus lambda x. That means this is just going to invert itself. So you will get something like that, right? So at 0, you'll get a value like this, and this will continue. This will continue till infinity, and this final value it will attain is 1. The final value which it will attain is 1, right? So I hope this was clear. I'll also draw the PDF for you. So the PDF, if you see, if I scroll up, the PDF is lambda e raised to minus lambda x. So that is just a decaying exponential, right? So all you will get is the value will start somewhere here. The first value will get is lambda, right? And after starting from lambda, this will just keep decreasing. At infinity, this value will become 0. So this is your lambda e raised to minus lambda x, and that which the CDF which I have shown is 1 minus e raised to minus lambda x, right? So that is how you can find the CDF and the PDF for an exponential random variable. Okay. The other parameters is mu x, which will be minus to plus infinity x fx of x dx. So for the exponential random variable, you start at 0, you go till infinity, you have x, and the CDF which is given to us is lambda e raised to minus lambda x dx. Therefore, you'll have this as 0 to infinity. I'll get the lambda out, x e raised to minus lambda x dx. Right. So this is a standard result which we could get when we were doing the integration part, right? So I hope you remember those standard values which we could get when such kind of integrals were given. So these have standard results. Okay, I don't know if you remember them. Okay, but these are the standard results which we can get. Okay, so what can you apply to get this integral? So your integral is of the form this: mu x is lambda 0 to infinity x e raised to minus lambda x dx. How do you solve this integral? Anybody?
Relate.
Sorry?
Bernoulli rule, sir.
Couldn't understand. Which one?
Bernoulli's rule, sir.
Bernoulli's rule. Okay. Anything else? Any other manner in which you can solve this?
Relate rule.
Okay. Anything else? let's make it easy. Mathematics is not tough. How about integration by parts? Does that look easier to implement here? What is known as the UV rule. Are you aware of it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can use the integration by parts here, okay, to solve this integral, which is see, it's all about integration. If you see, once you solve this integral, you'll just get your answer. That's all. You just have to multiply it with lambda, which is outside the integration. That's all. So it's all about integration. Okay. So I'm going to leave that also to you. Okay, I'll definitely discuss this in the next class, but I want you to get acquainted with the integration part, because this is not an integrations class. Okay, so your integration has to be very strong. So please go back. If you want to apply, you can apply some other rule also. Okay, it's not that only by parts, but I just think that by when if you use integration by parts, it will become a little easier for you in this case. Okay, so while you are doing this, also you can also find e of x square, which will be lambda 0 to infinity x square e raised to minus lambda x dx. And once you have these two, sigma x square can be found out as e of x square minus mu x the whole square. So in the next class, you let me know what is the mean value, what is e of x square, and what is then the variance of this exponential random variable, and the one before that is finding the variance for the uniform random variable. Okay, because I'll also solve this with you, and we'll check the answer, but you'll have to be strong with the integrations part. Okay, so